Hello, Georgetown. I'm Beverly Enos, and this is Spotlight Georgetown. As part of our community cable service, this show is on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. If you'd like to be part of the process, please let us know. Would love to have you as a volunteer. We have all the equipment, and we have all the training that you would need. Now, today we are talking to Catherine Barbara Thompson and Starr Anderson. Welcome, ladies. Now, Buffy, how long have you been in town?
I've been in town for about 47 years.
That's a good long time.
We built in town, yep.
And you raised your children here?
Raised all the children here.
How many?
6.
6? And what are they doing now? You've got some
They're all
kids
over
that have
the
done
place.
some amazing things.
They're from Maine to Florida to, they're always, the 2 boys are traveling around all the time, the 2 younger boys. And that's pretty much it. Florida, Maine, Massachusetts. And we're always close together in one way or the other. We're usually getting together. We just got together for a wedding, so it was like old home week.
Buffy and I were talking a little bit earlier, and one of my first memories of your family is when Paul was running for, you said, planning board, and right. All of a sudden I see this group of bicycles, and there's the daddy bicycle and the mommy bicycle and all the 6 little children bicycle, and in those days it was all the way down to like a little teeny 2-wheeler.
Right.
And they all had signs on their backs, kind of vote for my dad.
The ones that couldn't ride the bike were on the back.
Were on the back of the seats.
Were on the back of my shoulder.
And it was a neat moment to watch you do that. It was kind of a fun memory. Now, Starr, you haven't been in town as long as Buffy. How long have you been here?
You'll be surprised. I've been here 33 years.
Have you really?
In September.
See, I remember you when you moved in.
That's right.
We have long histories here in Georgetown.
Time flies when you're having fun.
And you have 2 children.
Elisha and Emily. Elisha, do you want me to tell you where they are?
Sure.
Elisha's in Providence, Rhode Island. He's an associate director of admissions. And Emily is in New Haven, Connecticut right now. She is an archaeologist.
Oh, wow. It's amazing what kids do. They're so different. Now, you have one child, Erin, that's an artist.
Right.
And you have another daughter that just retired from?
From the Army, right.
After how many years?
33 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
Sergeant Major.
Lots of diversity.
Suzanne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sergeant Major.
Yeah, very diverse.
Yeah.
2
Lots
boys
of
that are
diversity.
linemen.
Now, I think people in town have probably been asking this question for 43 years. How did you get the name Buffy?
It's a long story. To
Go
make
ahead.
it short. When I was christened Catherine Barbara, my mother did not want me named Catherine. Needless to say, I was only called Barbara at home. Now, when I went to parochial school, they would only call me Catherine Barbara. And I tried to get that name changed to Barbara because I was called Barbara at home. And the kids in school called me Catherine. Everybody just called me Catherine in one place, and I was Barbara in another at the same time during the day. You know, a day would go by and I'd be Barbara one place and Catherine another. So therefore, I tried to get my name changed to Barbara. The nuns would not change it. Evidently, St. Catherine wasn't popular enough, or St. Barbara wasn't popular enough, so I couldn't get it changed. And I was asking Sister Catherine of Siena to change my name. My first lesson in diplomacy: don't ever tell somebody you don't like the name that they're carrying. So my friends decided that they'd give me a nickname, and they called me Buff, and that's how I got Buffy. And needless to say, the nuns didn't catch on, so I didn't get in trouble, any more trouble than I was in, and that's what I carried throughout my life. But when I went into professional photography, it just didn't seem right to call me Buffy.
So you went back to Catherine.
Went back to Catherine. So
I've seen some of your work signed. It's Catherine Thompson. Yes. Now, Starr, your given name is Starr.
That's right.
And
I did not go to parochial school.
S-T-A-R-R.
I don't have this wonderful story.
So we don't have any stories with your name. That's just your real name.
Just 2 R's.
Okay, 2 R's. That's the only
Yes.
thing. Now, Buffy, did you have a lot of artistic interests as a kid?
I really didn't think I did. I saw things a little bit different, but I really didn't think I did. The only thing I could do as far as drawing was I had an Etch-a-Sketch. And I loved that stupid thing because it would draw the lines fine for me. And if I tried to do it freehand, it just didn't come out right. So I wasn't very happy with it, and so I didn't really know that I had any artistic talent at all.
So how did you get into the photography?
I just wanted to keep the memories of things that were going down. My father always took pictures, and he took videos. And my father, you know, every time anything went down, and we entertained at our house a lot. We had a big family, we had a lot of relatives, so it was our house that did all the entertaining. So my father would take the video camera, and it would exasperate me to no end. He would line us up. There were 7 kids, and he'd line us all up. And he'd say, okay, stay there. Then he'd turn on the camera. He'd say, now walk slowly towards the camera. And I used to go right straight out of my mind when he'd do that, because I just couldn't stand every time he put on the video on the screen, here we'd come walking up towards the camera. It was so uneventful. So, but in the meantime, he did capture all the things that went down in the house. And then when I got married, I wanted to do the same thing. And we got a camera and took a video of the kids, and then Paul started splicing the videos, and he was eliminating an awful lot of the good film. So I couldn't stand it anymore, and when I started to go into my profession, I decided I was going to get a video camera too. And that's how I started in videography.
Now, what age were you when you got your first real camera? Just regular
My first
camera.
real camera? Oh God, do we have to go back that far, Beverly?
Just your little
Yeah,
Kodak.
just don't tell the year, Buffy, and then nobody can figure out.
It's one of those ones with the big silver screen with the bulbs that
No,
flash, right?
we just had little cameras, and that's what frustrated me, was because I wanted to get closer to the subject, and I couldn't, because it would get blurred. And so, needless to say, when I went into,
I remember growing up with the little brownie
I
cameras.
know they did a great job.
Yeah, they did.
But
We've still got those
they were all
pictures.
wide angled. You know,
Yeah.
it was like you couldn't do macro shoots with them.
Right. Now, what is your favorite camera?
My
is it a still
favorite
camera or is it a video camera?
That's a toss-up. That's a toss-up, because there's still so much life you can get out of a still camera, but then the video can capture the action so much better. And it's a real toss-up. I have a Canon. For my professional cameras, I had a Mamiya. Not the Mamiya, I had the Bronicas. I chose the Bronicas. They were tough cameras, and they were beautiful. And then I chose the Canon as a little sidearm to be able to do the shoots.
Now, what about digitals?
So now it was that was kind of a funny thing, because when I was doing shoots at the house, you know, I'd have to use the Polaroid to be able to take test shots when people came in, and that was very expensive. And one day I ran out of it, and I didn't know what I was going to do. But in the meantime, I had picked up a Sony digital camera just for fun. I said, you know what, I'll just try it, because all the pros were saying, no way are we going to move into the digital line.
Right.
That's never going to happen. So I said, wait a minute, I have a Sony digital. If I plug it into my lights, maybe I can take a test shot. It worked. And I said, this is what I really like, because then I could put it right on my PC. I could see what I had. I didn't have to run to the Pro Lab and have everything developed. So I said, you know, I think I'm just going to change over. So I slowly changed over to digital photography, and I love it.
So you do mostly digital now?
I do all digital now.
Oh, wow. Okay,
I do all digital. Yeah, no more still cameras.
That's unusual.
I have some fabulous still cameras with some lenses, but the digital, I've got a Canon 10D, and it's done a beautiful job for me. I've been very happy with what it's done, because I have beautiful lenses for my Canon.
Okay.
And when they came out to interchangeable lenses for the digital
that's what made a
photography,
big difference.
I was able to utilize all those lenses that I had bought, and they do great work. Sony also.
And you started videotaping when you first got married and had kids. But it was just videotaping family
But it was
type
just,
stuff.
yeah, it was, Super 8, you know.
The kids around the Christmas tree and all those things that we all have stored in our
Right.
attics or our basements
Right.
someplace. You used to do a lot of photography at home. I remember your gardens. I was to your home a few times. I framed some of your things, and You had beautiful gardens because you used to take a lot of senior pictures there. Do you still do that?
Yes, not as much as I used to. I've slowed down a little bit. I'm still busy as ever, but I bought the seniors up there, and generally I had the kids come in that had procrastinated having their senior pictures done. So I'd get them late.
Yeah.
And the ones that I got were usually the children that were into sports. So they were disciplined. I knew they were disciplined. So I could take them and do anything with them. And I had a lot of fun with them. We'd go out. We'd do some inside shooting, but then I'd take them out. I took them down to waterfalls. I'd take them down to the name it, right down the end of the street where the train tracks used to be.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay. Anywhere at all, and they'd come
Down to the tracks.
right down at the tracks. Right, it's going to be a path now, right?
Yep,
They're trying to
it's gonna
convert
be
it into a
bicycle path.
bike path. Yeah. But no, they were fun, and they always had fun. But I'd spend at least 2.5 hours with them. And as a photographer, as a professional photographer, that's not very good for business, but it was fine for me because I could create something different for them, so that they have albums, all of them, and they can show their children how, everybody is so intimidated when they get in front of a camera. They all think they're ugly. They all think they look terrible. And if you spend enough time, you can get inside and get the real beauty. And when the parents see it, and when different relatives see it, they see different traits coming out in each individual that's taken. And it's really a treasure to have.
Now, did you go through the
Let
Starr,
me-
you
I
jump
was
in.
gonna, I was going to say something about when you said seniors. My mind automatically went to the fact that I'm a senior, but she's talking about high
High
school
school seniors.
She's talking about high school seniors, and in the slideshow, we'll talk about that later, but that will probably conclude this interview. There's a wonderful picture of two seniors that she took a picture of jumping into the swimming pool. So you can see why they left to go to her house and get their pictures taken. It's an excellent shot because there's
It's
no
my
blur.
favorite sports picture. This is of two of the kids that came in, and over here, okay. Two of the kids that came in, and I was doing their shoot, and they asked Erin at the time, "Do you think your mother will let us go into the pool after we're done?" And I said, "Oh, I've been waiting for this to happen." And I said, "I've got a shot I want you boys to do, and if you do it, it's going to be priceless. But if you miss, you're going to be soaking wet, and it's going to be absolutely zipped." So
Two
anyway,
boys diving into the pool.
so I told them I wanted them to do, I knew they were disciplined. I said, "I want you to do the racing dive." And at that time, in the old days, when I did the racing dive, we were trained that we had to get down and squat with our hands in the back and shoot out flat onto the water. We had to go right straight down in the water to start swimming immediately. I said, "This is exactly what I want you to do. And when you shoot your hands out on the count of 3, your hands are in back of you. When you shoot your hands out, do not put them like this. I want them over like this, and I want you smiling at me." So I said, "When I count to 3, do it." And they did it. They
And
did
it's
it.
got
It
a
was
great
like,
reflection
I
of them in
love-
the pool as well.
I
It
did-
is.
yeah,
It's a
I
wonderful
just loved
picture.
it.
It's a great-
and then
it's a great
naturally they
piece.
were soaking wet, so then they came in. They came out of the water. I said, "Your mother's gonna kill me." So then they
fully
just came out.
dressed, this
They were
is.
in there for about an hour. They were back and forth, jumping up and
Sneakers,
It
down.
was a
having
one-shot thing. It either worked or it didn't.
It did.
Okay.
know it.
Now, you've got some great stories through the years. You did a lot of photography with your brother's trains.
Oh yes, Jack. Yeah, yeah. He has a train set that's hundreds of trains, and he got a little train set. Lionel as a kid back in the 40s, late 40s, and then when he got married, he moved. We used to go down the cellar, and he'd set it up every year, and my parents would get him more trains every year, so that he built it all along the cellar. And it was so magical because he'd take rubber tubing from tires and he'd cut it into minuscule little squares, and that was coal that went into the coal car. He just painted everything. He had street lights. He had, name it, and everything was lit. The churches were lit. So we'd go down there and shut off all the lights, and we had deep windows in the cellar, and if it snowed, the snow would be coming down, And he'd put on the trains and all the lights would go and we'd just hear the whistle blow. It was like so magical. Well, then he got married, and my mother wanted the trains out of the cellar. So he took them, and he took them up to his house, but his wife didn't want them down.
She didn't want them either.
So he had to put them upstairs in the attic. Well, he's got a 40-foot, 30-foot or 40-foot by 10-foot wide attic with a 3.5-inch deep space.
3.5 feet.
Space.
Okay.
3.5 feet.
So he has to crawl around the train.
It was a crawl space. So and what he did was he didn't realize at the time, but when he started setting up his trains, he started at the outer perimeter. So he had and year after year, he just kept on building on and on. He put tunnels in the corners, and so these trains had all little magical inlets and outlets, and up and down everywhere you went. But it got to the point where he was right into, and how he did it was he went through his bedroom, he took the closet, forget the closet, he put stairs into the closet, up into the attic, and then you just pulled this board down. The board would go into one of the rung of the stairs, and he made it for about 250 pounds of weight.
But only one person can go up at a time.
Well, two people.
Two
He
people.
could go,
Okay.
and another person. So when you had to go up into this space, you had to go up the ladder and then put your butt on the side of the wall. He'd let the board go down and go on the stair, and then you could stand on that, and there you were surrounded by this magical little island of trains.
Now, I've seen some of the photographs from this because they were
Yes.
actually cover photos
Right.
of magazines, from train magazines.
Well, he was determined. He had such a collection. He said, I want to get into a magazine. And so he tried for O Gauge magazine. And some of the pictures that he had were, we had to do this, but the trouble was they would not allow, O Gauge magazine would not allow you to have flash photography. They wanted you just to have, so I go up into the attic, and he's got 25-watt bulbs in the ceilings, and they're dispersed throughout the area, but you couldn't see anything. I said, Jack, this is going to be kind of an impossibility if you don't change the bulbs. And he said, Barbara, when I put this thing in the 60s, the electrical unit was a little bit limited to what it's got to be now if I have to pump that up. And I said, well, try it. We'll get the Christmas tree bulbs that are like 50 watts. 75 watts, whatever it was that he got, he put them in. But anyways, he installed them, and that brought the lighting up enough so that some of the shots that I took were at least a minute. I'd have to time them for a minute. He'd go stark raving mad. He'd say, I can't hold this, because I'd make him light up all the trains. In order to be able to get the light for this thing, it was really, really difficult. So he had to light all his trains that he had on all the tracks. So now you have them coming, you can see how many lines of trains are going in and out. The electricity was heavy to have to hold those tracks, and you could kind of smell the engines heating up a little bit while I'm saying, Jackie, just wait till I count down. I'll try to do it at 30 seconds. Just wait a second. I'll count it down to get it. So anyway, we got it, and they accepted what we got, and it was put in the bicentennial edition, and then he went 5 years
in two editions.
5 years later. He said, I want it in 2005. So he went for another magazine, and he got that put in. This one here was the Classic Toy Train magazine. Now the Classic Toy Trains had a bigger publication, so he said, I want to get in that. Didn't know if we were going to do it. I said, same thing. And he had to tell them and show them what we had done in the work before for the magazine 5 years ago, 5 years before that. Anyway, we did a different scenario, set it up just a little bit different. Tracks were still the same. But by then I had digital. And now I could work it, and I could take it home because I knew how I could tweak it. And so we were able to get much clearer shots.
There's that digital camera
that's
coming in handy.
Oh yes, oh yes.
The changers are coming.
See, because when you go to a lab, when you take your work to a lab, they're developing it through their machines, and they don't know what you were looking for.
They don't
so
know
they
if
just get the first run.
How many of us have gone to a wedding and the pictures show up, you wore a purple dress, it comes out blue.
That's
Well,
right.
that's it. Yeah.
That's right.
You never know.
You're at the mercy of the machines. So this way, with digital, I found that you know, you could do it a little. But anyway, they had the president of this magazine and his photographer came out because he wanted to meet us, because it was really kind of impossible to think that you could get that kind of work in such a small place. But they went up. He took both of them up, and they sat there. And the first thing the photographer said was, "How did she do it?"
Well, you're
because
tiny.
I'm so short.
That helps.
Because I'm so short, and I had to crawl, and I had to do it on my knees. You know, I did the whole shoot on my knees and just crunched down and just. It was like almost impossible, but it was fun. It was fun. It took months to do, but it was fun.
And you had two perfectionists doing
Yes,
it.
yes. You earned your brother. Now, in 2002, you videotaped the Sheriff's Youth Academy.
Oh, that's with Starr and I. Yes.
Oh, is that how you got started
yes.
with her?
No.
Well,
we
we'd
were there
started before that, but we
Okay.
certainly did that.
All right,
yes.
you did that one together. Now, what is that? What was the academy?
Well, Starr, we were working on the council, and they came in one day and said, we have an invitation from the Sheriff's Department to be able to take 40 children if they want to volunteer and take them down and go through a what it actually was a boot camp type of thing, but it was a development, a personal development type of a situation where the kids, generally the children that joined it weren't involved in sports, they weren't involved in any extracurricular activity, so they kind of encouraged them to join.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the funniest thing because Starr and I figured, well, you know, this is going to be 10 weeks. This is going to go on for a little time. Maybe I should get down. We talked about it, and I said, maybe I should get down and just check it out. I'll check it out and see what's going down. So she said, all right, let me know. So I went down, and I opened up the camera, and the bus came in from school. And it was the funniest thing I ever saw because the sergeants were standing there with their arms in back of them, the hands in back of them, and the kids started coming off the bus, and you know, they were a little assertive as to what their moods were, and immediately they started yelling at them, giving them orders and telling them what they were and were not going to do. And I said, oh my goodness, this is a Goldie Hawn, Private Benjamin movie. So I decided to stick with it, and Starr and I went down and we went through all the sessions. They had 20 sessions, and they took these children in, and what they did was unbelievable. They really learned a lot. And then Starr did the interviews with them afterwards, and it was really funny because we were wondering how these kids felt because they really, some of them were chewed on pretty good during their sessions.
It was wonderful to watch them. We actually did work at the jail, the Middleton jail. We were down there. That we were very privileged to be able to go all through that with the dogs and into the cell blocks and all kind of things. They did it at court. I got a real new appreciation of the Georgetown Police Department because some of them were down there. Donnie Cudmore was there a lot, working with them. They did all sorts of things. They ended up the great shots, and I don't know if I don't think you've got this on the slideshow, but the last thing that they did was to jump in the water. They grabbed this rope swing and swung out over the water and fell in, and it is priceless. And we just stood there. You can't help but have tears in your eyes because you saw these kids, as she said, come off
Some
the
of
bus.
them were frightened of heights. You know, one
And the
young
maturity
man
that they
in particular,
did
and
in-
he still did it. It was like, oh, they were fabulous.
And
These
you
kids.
videotaped the whole thing.
Yes, it was so fun, and
turned it
we
into
didn't
a
know
movie.
from 1 minute to the next what was going to get on. We'd get on there, it was a surprise a minute. Whatever these gentlemen did, they set up. The kids never knew what they were walking into, but they always had about a 20-minute classroom of some instructional, some person would come in, whether it was on public safety, whether it was on fire prevention. They always were instructed with some particular form of education that they just didn't get at the school situation,
Or in the home
so,
situation.
And right, so they really grew. They really grew, and
They did.
they formed them into such a unit. They all were together by the end of this
And
session.
it was boot camp. They yelled and screamed, but they really
It
loved
was
these
pretty-
kids, and they had a lot of fun with them. And at the end, Buffy and a man named John Geisel, I think his name
Right.
was, sat down and spent hours and hours and edited all these hours of tape into a movie. And we actually presented it up in a restaurant up in Haverhill.
So
it
that
was,
all the kids could see it?
they could see it, and it's still around.
Yeah.
It's quite a
Yeah, it was
Quite a
really
bit.
fun. Those children did. And the funniest thing, when Starr did the interviews with them, it was just off the cuff. She said, I think I'm going to do an interview, and I'll collect some of the kids because they're not using them at this point. They came in, and not one of those children said they didn't like it, that they would come back again and do it over again. And I mean, they had been beaten on pretty severely. But it was a very enjoyable experience for them.
We've done lots and lots of different types of things. Let's talk about the quilt. There's a quilt
Ah, the
downstairs
quilt.
in Town
Yes.
Hall that has a story connected with it as well. And the story has a lot of view. I understand that the quilt squares were made by different people in different organizations,
Yes.
but it was put together in your home.
It was, well, the final quilt was pieced together in our home. All right. Now, the Caroline Chamberlain, who lived up at the end of my street, and a couple of other gals had gotten together, and because the bicentennial was coming through, so they decided to have do a quilt in commemorating all the historical things that had gone down in Georgetown. Well, in the meantime, none of us had really sewn what we had sewn, but not a quilt. And now they had to do research on this, which meant the material used had to be 100%, a certain 100% cotton. The thread that was used had to be just so fine. Everything that was done on this quilt had to be to the specifications of making a professional quilt. So they got together and they lined up the gals that wanted to do it, and we had to go out and get quilting books because we didn't know how to quilt and how it was done.
When was
so
this done?
step by step, this was done in 1974.
Okay.
So it was
70.
it was really a conglomerate of gals all throughout the community, from every church, from every organization that got into it. Some of the gals, in fact, this gal here, the woman that did this one here was the
Which
last
one is it?
lamplighter in Georgetown, and that was her great-grandfather. All right, so every single piece of history that went in here, a lot of the gals that worked on it had a part of family history that kind of related to it. So it was really very interesting. Now, in order to assemble it, it had to be assembled just so. It had, and we needed a quilting frame. Well, one of the gals that had done one of these pieces came from Kentucky, and she had an antique quilting frame. She had it mailed up here, and it came to my house. And as it was, Caroline would line up the gals that had their pieces and how they had to go in, and they would come down, and we'd sit, and they would start working on their quilting into this whole
And
piece.
did you photograph the whole thing? Was
I
that part of
didn't
your involvement?
Really photograph at that time, Beverly. I didn't have my professional cameras.
Okay,
This
so-
is a long time. This is 1974.
All right. So you were part of
I
the
was
quilting.
a lot younger then.
You were part of the quilters.
Yes,
As
I was
opposed
part
to
of
part of the-
quilters, yes.
the-
But that was a
photography.
fun, and you can understand in the old days how socializing went. But they all got together and would quilt in each other's homes and do the sewing in each other's homes. That was their part of having fun, you know, coming in, and we did have a lot of fun.
That was the
Yep.
sociability that goes along with it. Now, a lot of these things are leading up to something called an Unsung Heroines Award, which you were the recipient this year for the town of Georgetown. And can you tell us what that award is for? We're going to make you talk about yourself.
Here she goes. It was funny because I got a letter in the mail, and Paul said, "There's a letter here for you," so it was put aside, and I didn't open it up till the next day because I saw this long letter, and I figured, oh, you know, maybe it's a bill. Who knows?
No time to read.
I opened it up, and it was an invitation to come in May 14th and I had been chosen as one of the unsung heroines of 2008. And out of 600 applications that had gone in, 286 women were chosen from each community. Well, there's 356 communities in Massachusetts, but in order to be able to get put into the roster, somebody has to nominate you. So I think they're still trying to work on certain cities and towns to join this force, because it's an organization that got together in 1998 for the preservation of women having equality.
Now, we have had 3 recipients from Georgetown. In 2006, we had a Hua Sun Chin, and then last year in 2007, it was Sandy Garrity.
Okay.
So you are the 3rd recipient from Georgetown.
All right.
And I don't know if you knew that, but
I did know that there were 2 others, but I did not know the first gal that was chosen.
I didn't either. I actually went
did.
on.
I
I went on
it
the
just
website.
It just wasn't something that I knew anything about. In fact, when they told me what this was, and what I read, and then I got a call from the newspapers, from the Boston Globe, and I didn't know how to respond to it, because I'm saying, what did I do that every other woman hasn't done?
But one of the things that you did is what we've just been showing. You have been photographing this town and its children for 40 years or 35 years,
That's
or
right.
whatever years you got
That's
your
right.
camera.
That's
You
right.
photographed kids in high school playing sports. You photographed the mud bowls. You photographed, you were part of you did a lot of photography for the Grasshopper. That's actually down at
Faneuil Hall.
Faneuil Hall.
The most famous grasshopper in the world.
That's right.
That's
right.
right.
So you've been photographing the history of this town for all these years.
But you don't think about that way, because I mean, I had fun doing what I was doing, all right? And there are so many worthy women.
You amongst them.
Let me brag on her a little
Good.
bit, because
She
has a
doesn't want
hard
to talk
time-
about
She has a
herself.
hard time doing this. One of the things
She's
that
looking
that
everywhere
I
but
think,
near a camera.
I think as we're talking and listening to Buffy talk, that we're beginning to see in her is something called the creative process, and you maybe want to say some more about this too, although you have it too, because you do your own creative kind of things. And I think that it's very hard for people that have that to very often to verbalize it. Because it's what they have such a passion for that they don't even realize it's a gift or whatever.
They just do it.
You just do it. It's an irresistible force. It's something you absolutely have to do. You just can't not do it. That's what you do.
Right.
And it's only other people that see this as something that is very special or as a gift. Buffy has it, you have it, and that's the thing that this Unsung Hero is for, and I think it's a wonderful award for that very reason. And it's done for women, so that it's something that empowers women that very often, she was saying earlier, you asked if she had artistic interest as a child. When she was a child, nobody paid attention to kids having artistic interest, or a woman. They sewed, they were good mothers, they did those kind of things, but we never thought about it as being artistic.
Right.
If Buffy had been on the West Coast, she would probably have been in the film industry because of
Probably.
the stuff that she does.
Yeah.
But she was here riding her bicycles and advertising.
That's right.
Which I think is a great
You know, when
story.
you're an
It
artist
is.
like that, when you're an artist like that, most of the things that you do, people say, you're crazy, you can't do that. I mean,
That's
if I hear
right.
that one more
That's
time,
right.
that I'm crazy, that I can't do something. It's like, that's all you have to do is tell me that. And I go to town. I can't help it.
Well, that's part of
It's
who
just
you
like
are.
when we did the, what was it, the 2001 Arts in the Park, you had a lot of your crafts
Yes.
there.
Yep.
And you had that beautiful craft of making
The Japanese ornaments, the tamari.
not just
And the
that.
paper. The paper
You
is
had the,
Oh,
the
I was hand making paper at
Yes.
that day, in those days. Yes.
yes, the thank you notes or whatever
Yeah.
you wanted to use it
Yeah.
for.
I do a lot of handmade Japanese paper.
Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
In fact, you need a museum up at your house because of all your bunker. You have grown so much. I hadn't been up your house for quite a while, and when I walked in it about a month ago, it was amazing what I saw. The change as it's gone through the years. Just like in my photography, I've grown, and you've grown through the years, and the tonation that you've put in faces is unbelievable. You have some gorgeous art, and
Thank you.
and really people should see that. You know, it's stuck on your walls.
We'll do a show one day.
Well, you
and we'll
have to.
We will.
You have to, because of the appreciation. I, as doing what I do, and you do what you do. It's two different forms of art, but it's so beautiful because
No.
it relates to light, and you see the light. You've seen the light. You've gone under the sea and you've done your fishes, so you see light, and you're interpreting it now, and especially in faces that I see that beautiful.
One of the things that I started
shading.
doing about 20 years ago was I started designing my
Yes.
own work, and I design it from photography. I take the photographs and then I turn it into
Yes.
a piece of the Japanese embroidery. So I have underwater photography, and I have a gazebo that my daughter got married and became a piece one year, and things like that. So I do a lot of photography, but mine is more for designing something else. Your photography, the photograph is the art.
It's got to be instant.
Right.
You know, that's that's
Right.
the difference.
Right.
I don't have the patience to be able to draw something and make it perfect. I see something and I have to capture it.
And you capture it with a shutter.
And if you're lucky,
Thousands
that's why I
of
love
photographs
sports
later.
photography. If
Right.
you're lucky, you can capture it.
And you're both talking about light, which is one of the biggest things in
Yes.
in
Yes.
art. You know, the people that study art. This particular poster was done by her daughter, Erin, and I'm going to tell this story instead of you, so that. But she told me that she gave Erin, who is an artist, one of her old cameras, and said, "You'll be a better artist if you can learn to take pictures, and because you're going to be capturing light and that kind of thing." And you're saying the same thing, that you take pictures.
And of course, this is an interesting piece because this is your granddaughter that's in this.
This is my granddaughter. Well, we're talking about when I took the children out for their shoots for senior pictures. Well, this happens to be Siobhan, my granddaughter, and she wanted to do the shoot up at Seabrook because she lives up at
fine.
Seabrook, and she was a lifeguard. She was a lifeguard up there, and the week before she had just saved. There were 5 people that were on the jetties, and adults, and she was going off duty with one of her lifeguards friends, and somebody came running up the beach, "Help, help, help, they're drowning, they're drowning." So she ran down with her friend, and they saved these 5 people that had been taken into the water, and it was quite an experience. So she said, "Grandma, would you mind taking me up to that jetty, and I'd like to have my pictures taken up there?" I said, "No problem." So
photo
I
shoot.
took her up. Now, it was insane. That week was insane for waves. It was absolutely unreal. And this particular one up here, this one here, the picture that I took before that, she was engulfed in the wave. You do not see her. You only see the water. So because of her strength and her power as a lifeguard, she was able to hold on to these rocks. She didn't see those waves coming. I kept on talking to her because I was way down on dry land. So I had my camera up, and I was just talking to her and trying to get her active into things, so she didn't really see what was coming down. And I would just be telling her, you know, "Give me another pose, do something for me." And all of a sudden, boom, up would come that wave. And she just fell into it. It was like unbelievable. So my daughter, Erin, has always been telling me, "Mom, you've got to advertise your photography." And so she gave me this. She did this up for me, and she gave me this for Mother's Day, for a Mother's Day gift.
So
So
this
I
is
love
part
it.
of your advertising.
Yeah, I love it.
Now, as part of the unsung heroine, there was a luncheon in Boston.
Yes, there was. And well, it wasn't really a luncheon. It was, they had the best chefs from around Boston that did their desserts, women chefs, okay? And they came in, and it was a tea afterwards.
Oh, nice.
So they had it, they put on quite a ceremony.
And
And it was
presentations?
wonderful seeing all these women in there, and some of them were in their 90s. I mean, there was quite a selection of gals in there. And the funniest part about it was most of them that I had a chance to talk to, they all said, "I don't know what I'm doing here. I really don't know what I'm
That's
doing
why
here."
they're unsung heroines. That's exactly why it's called unsung heroines.
Yes.
Now,
yes,
there is a
it's-
website that we will be putting on the screen.
Yes.
That has the information
because
for that.
because you
there's
can also apply.
the 2009 application is
yes.
on the website now. I
Yes.
checked it yesterday.
Yes,
Oh.
and the deadline is like January 16th, 2009. So you can, if you have a suggestion of somebody that you would like to be the 2009 Unsung Heroine, you can fill out that form, and it's right up on the website, and you have to write a little something about this person. It goes into the committee, and there are 19 people on the commission, and they will select who's
We
going
have
to
a
be.
lot of women in town that have been doing things for the town for years
years.
and years.
For years.
You know, whether it be within government or within PTO or within art in your field, or we have lots and lots of people that really are unsung heroines that are with us. Now, Starr had a story that when we were getting ready for this interview, you told me about the first time that you went out with her, that you thought that you were going to be
The
doing
first time I went out with Buffy to
with
do
Buffy
this
to do
this video.
to do it. Yes.
We were on the school council, the Georgetown Middle High School Council. I had no idea what we were going to do. We were community representatives, and we were trying to decide how we could make things known. And Buffy said, "You know, I could video things that they're doing in school because the kids were doing so many things." I thought that'd be a great idea, and I said, "I'll be glad to help you." And she said, "Fine." So I knew she had equipment, and so we went out, and I'm out there to carry the cameras. And
That
we
was
got-
your only job, you thought.
That was my only job. We
That's
got
what
out,
she
we got
thought.
ready, we got everything set up, and she said, "Okay, get up there and say what we're going to be doing." And I said, "I don't even know what I had on." And I said, "What do you mean?" And she said, "Somebody's got to talk, and I'm not going to." And I thought, with this accent, I'm up representing Georgetown. I said, "I don't think so, Buffy. Get up there." You don't say no to Buffy too many times. I got up, and the rest is history. I was doing it. We did it for about 4 years, I think. We went all
Yeah,
over
we were
this
only
town
allowed.
doing-
We only could serve on that committee for 3 years. Yeah,
And-
we'd still be on it. We'd still be doing it, but we got kicked off
There was
because you could only serve
our,
3 years.
our time ran out, but it was lots of fun, and we did a lot of things. The thing that helped me more than anything else, I learned so much about Georgetown and about these wonderful kids that we have in this town. I mean, you're doing it now. You're learning it
yeah,
now.
you're preaching to the choir. I have learned so much about what goes on in town just doing the show.
Right.
It's amazing the
Right.
people that we have and
Right.
what
The
the
talent.
departments do and the talents
Talent,
and
yeah.
the amount of hours
Yes.
that people have put into
That's right.
making this such a wonderful
That's
town.
right.
We keep seeing a lot of themes repeating, and yours is very much one of them. You come into town, and yours also, and it's a great place to raise children. It's a great place to have a family. It's a great place to become involved.
Right.
And it always starts with the kids. You start doing things with the kids, and then all of a sudden you're stepping out in this direction or stepping out in that direction and trying new things. And I've seen that over and over again as we've been doing these
They
shows.
say that schools are where more people in a town are congregated in one day's time than any other place, and you're right.
Yeah.
So much stuff starts in the school,
Yeah.
and parents get involved or whatever.
It's
before you-
amazing. Now we're going to be having a video that we'll be showing after this that has kind of it's been put together from a little bit of everything, of a lot of your
It was
photographs.
hard. I had to go back and check and see. All right, people want to know why I got selected. Why did I do this? And I'm saying, going into the archives and just looking at pictures. So to see the sports, to go to the sports, wrestling, I mean, so many things that people just really couldn't go to, couldn't see their kids playing, and to go down to the alumni games, which are the funnest games to go to.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, the camaraderie that they have, but then, oh boy, when those teams pit against each other, the white team against the blue team, oh God, it was really good. A lot of fun.
So this video is going to play when we're done. And
Yes,
you
it
have,
can play.
You have put this together yourself.
Yeah, I just spliced
These were your choices,
pictures.
and you
I-
put some music to it.
Right.
So when the
It's
show is
just shot-
over, don't leave. Don't leave. You want to watch the rest
I
of
want to
this.
say something about that because it does run from church fairs to the last things that she was doing. There's people like Bill Cuddy at these alumni games. It's absolutely wonderful. But as I was watching this thing, I realized, and I have to say this video is Buffy's love letter to Georgetown. And when you read it and see what she says at the end, you'll understand that. It's really something that she has done she's been loving and caring for this town for a long, long time, and you can see it in all of these.
And
So I
therefore,
just
you
had
want-
to
to
get-
live. It's been a great
It is.
place to live.
It is.
We're very, very fortunate.
What next?
I have no idea. I never know. I never know what's going to hit me when I walk in the door at home. From one day to the next, I just get up. I'm glad to get up, and if there's a job to do, I'll jump right in and do it. It's like, especially if it contains a camera, video or still, doesn't matter. I just love to be able to capture what's going on and then go back and look at it. It's really funny because families, I did a job for a gal who had been to my 50th anniversary a couple of years ago, and her parents' 50th anniversary was coming up. And she said, I love what you do, and I wonder if you can get some pictures and just do a couple of pictures for me to put on the wall to give my parents. So she said, I'm going to bring some down to the house. So we made it an appointment, and she came in with a myriad of pictures. And I said, it's going to be kind of impossible to do this because some of these pictures are ripped, they're torn, they're years old, 1925 down to, coming up the ranks. So I said, why don't you let me do a slideshow? If I do a slideshow, I can put it to music, and it's more appreciated that way. I said, and then it's not an album that, how many people look through an album? It sits, it gets dusty, but a slideshow you can put on the television and people can really enjoy it. So she agreed to it, so we worked from January to April, because she kept on bringing in more pictures to go through it. But the one point about it was that her brother, who was the star of the day, and a graduate of Notre Dame, football player, the whole thing. Well, he was killed in a car accident at age 24. So it was really difficult digging up these pictures and considering putting them in. I said, he was part of your life for 24 years. So I said, you ate with him, you fought with him, might just as well get him in all those pictures. Because the one point of it is the mother, no matter what went down in that family, she chronologued every single thing that went down. She had pictures of everything, no matter what it was.
Is that you?
But it
Just
was,
like you.
But it was really the greatest thing because I was able to assemble and bring them right up from the father, when a picture with his brother at like 7 years old, all the way up with the mother too, and into 2008.
Now, you do
Was
this type
great.
of thing as part of your work?
It's part of my work.
So
In
if
fact,
someone
this
wants
is-
to
this
get
is
hold of
one
you-
the gifts that she gave me. This Tiffany is one of the gifts that she gave me in appreciation for doing that job. I
And-
wear it today. It's really, I love it. I love her. She's precious. But
So if
If
someone wants to have
parents-
something like this, you're listed in the phone book.
yeah. I'm in the phone.
Sign
I'm
to Paul
just, I'm
Thompson.
just Catherine Thompson in the phone book. Paul Thompson, doesn't matter.
But you do this for a living.
Yes, I have. I
Okay.
have done it.
So if anybody's out there that is looking to have something done, we're all set. Now, I would like to thank you both for coming. This has been so much fun.
Thanks for having us,
Yes,
Beverly.
thank
It
you
has
very
been
much.
And I want you to teach me how to do that. Remember we told her we wanted to come up
We
and
will.
learn how to do that.
I
the
know.
paper?
It was
I
like
know,
that
she
paper
does.
was
She's
just
serious.
perfect. I'm serious.
We'll do that.
Oh,
We'll do that.
Yes. That's a fabulous
Thank you all for
craft.
joining us. This is Spotlight Georgetown. I'm Beverly Enos. Have a great day. Bye for now.
know a dream is like a river, ever changing as it flows, and the dreamer's just a vessel that must follow where it goes, trying to learn from what's behind you, and never knowing what's in store makes each day a constant battle just to stay between the shore. And I will sail my vessel till the river runs dry, like a bird upon the wind. These waters are my sky, I'll never reach my destination if I never try. So I will sail my vessel till the river runs dry. Too many times we stand aside and let the water slip away, till what we put off till tomorrow has now become today. So don't you sit upon the shoreline and say you're satisfied. Choose to chance the rapids and dare to dance the tide. Yes, I will sail my vessel till the river runs dry, like a bird upon the wind. These waters are my sky, I'll never reach my destination if I never try. So I will sail my vessel till the river runs dry. And there's bound to be rough waters, and I know I'll take some falls, but with the good Lord as my captain, I can make it through them all. Yes, I will sail my vessel till the river runs dry, like a bird upon the wind. These waters are my sky, I'll never reach my destination if I never try. So I will sail my vessel till the river runs dry. Yes, I will sail my vessel till the river runs dry.